Charlie!
Come on, let's go. All teams, move.
Any route to Charlie that isn't through the car? Right. Keep swinging that thing.
And they know their boss is dead.
Move, go!
Mamy się nie karys.
Get rid of these guys!
Already.
Don't let them between us.
Dagasi are here. They must know about David.
Yeah, feels good.
Is that supposed to be funny?
Hadi Tiana, man kann... Get down! Cover me! You're kidding me. We're almost there.
Hold on.
My team's down.
Yes! No!
Go! Granata!
Tyler, he's got the kid. Nick and I...
Move! Go! That's empty!
Open the door.
Hey guys, today we're diving headfirst into the adrenaline-fueled world of Extraction 2, a movie that proves bullet wounds are just a minor inconvenience if you're stubborn enough. We open pretty much right where the last film left off, with our man Tyler Rake taking an unscheduled, gravity-assisted swan dive off a bridge into a river. He's been shot a few times, which, let's be real, would typically ruin anyone else's entire day, if not their entire life. But this is Tyler Rake we're talking about, so naturally, he's just resting. We see him in a coma, a tube jungle helping him breathe, and honestly, you'd think this guy had enough excitement for a lifetime. If you had a good time with this, a like and a subscribe is a free way to help me keep making more. After what felt like an eternity, Rake finally blinks his eyes open. He's in Dubai, presumably because that's where all the best medical staff for Black Ops mercenaries are. His trusty team, Nick and Yaz, are right there, looking only mildly traumatized. It's clear Rake is in rough shape, his body a map of stitches and pain. The sheer exhaustion radiating from him is palpable, making you wince just watching him try to shift. He's got a long, painful road ahead, and frankly, I'm pretty sure his physical therapist deserves an Oscar for what's coming. Fast forward 9 months, and Rake has traded his hospital bed for a rather picturesque snow-covered cabin in Austria, because nothing says healing like sub-zero temperatures and manual labor. He's deep into some seriously intense physical rehab, pushing his body to its absolute limits. We're talking chopping wood until his muscles scream, scaling mountains with the determination of a particularly motivated goat, and just generally looking like a man who refuses to stay broken. The rhythmic thud of the axe biting into wood, the crunch of snow underfoot. It's a symphony of self-torture, all to get back to peak mercenary form. Honestly, his dedication is both admirable and slightly terrifying. Just when you think Rake might actually get to enjoy a quiet, contemplative life of chopping wood and existential dread, a helicopter rudely interrupts his solitude. Out steps Alcott, a man so impeccably dressed, he clearly doesn't know what a muddy boot feels like. He's got that I know things you don't vibe, and you just know he's not there to offer Rake a coupon for a spa day. He's got a job, a very dangerous job, and he knows Rake is just the broken but highly effective hammer for it. The air crackles with unspoken demands, and the crunch of snow under Alcott's expensive shoes sounds like fate knocking. Alcott lays out the details. Ketevan, Rake's ex-wife's sister, is being held captive in a Georgian prison with her 2 kids. Her husband, David, is a notorious gangster, and this prison isn't exactly a 5-star resort. It's more of a don't drop the soap or your life kind of place. The mission? Extract them. Of course, this isn't some clandestine operation. It's practically a full frontal assault on a heavily fortified facility. Rake, ever the realist, initially says no. He's seen enough death for 10 lifetimes, and the thought of more just makes him wince. The grim reality settles in, heavy and cold like the mountain air outside. The decision weighs heavily on Rake. He stares at a photo of his late wife and son, the weight of his past actions and regrets pressing down on him. The personal connection to Ketevan is what ultimately tips the scales. It's not just another job. It's a chance at some form of redemption, a way to protect what little family he has left. So, with a grim determination that could shatter concrete, he agrees. The subtle clenching of his jaw, the slight tremor in his hand, it all speaks volumes. He's back in the game, and the world is about to feel the full force of a man who just survived death. Nick and Yaz, the ever-loyal and perpetually awesome duo, are already geared up and waiting for Rake. The hangar is a mercenary's paradise, stocked with more firepower than a small army. They're prepping, checking weapons, discussing logistics with that calm, professional demeanor that only people who regularly cheat death possess. The metallic click of magazines loading, the soft thud of gear bags hitting the ground. It's a symphony of impending mayhem. Rake surveys the arsenal, a slight nod of approval, and you know it's business time. They're off to Tbilisi, Georgia, to stage a prison break that's less Shawshank Redemption and more anarchy in the Caucasus. Our team, now sporting some rather fetching prison guard uniforms, infiltrates the Georgian maximum security facility. The plan is simple, if not entirely insane. Get inside, find Ketavan and her kids, and get out. The air inside the prison is thick with a palpable tension, a hum of controlled violence that could erupt at any moment. Rake moves with the silent grace of a predator, his eyes constantly scanning, taking in every detail. The clanging of distant cell doors, the muffled shouts of guards, it all adds to the oppressive atmosphere. It's a very subtle beginning for what's about to become a full-blown riot. Rake eventually finds Ketavan and her children, locked away in a cell that looks like it hasn't seen a cleaning crew since the Iron Curtain fell. Ketavan is, understandably, not thrilled to see Rake, especially since he's the brother-in-law of her late sister. There's a brief, tense exchange, the kind where years of unspoken pain hang heavy in the air. The kids are huddled, wide-eyed and silent, absorbing the raw fear and tension. The clank of the cell door opening echoes in the grim silence, a sound of both release and impending chaos. Just as Rake begins to usher Ketavan and her kids out, a prisoner decides now is the perfect time to commit a felony with extreme prejudice, stabbing a guard in the neck. And just like that, the entire prison erupts. It's a glorious, terrifying explosion of sound and fury, shouts, screams, the dull thud of bodies hitting concrete, and the metallic clang of improvised weapons. Rake, ever the professional, immediately shifts into fight mode, shielding the family while simultaneously delivering bone-shattering blows. This isn't just a prison break. It's a full-blown declaration of war. That subtle beginning I mentioned earlier, well, it just exploded. The narrow prison hallways become a deadly gauntlet. Rake is a whirlwind of controlled violence, disarming, punching, and headbutting his way through a seemingly endless stream of angry inmates. The close-quarters combat is absolutely brutal. Every crack of a fist connecting, every guttural grunt of effort, every sickening thud of a body collapsing, it's all incredibly visceral. He's not just fighting. He's a human shield, keeping Ketavan and the kids safe amidst the chaos. The desperate shrieks of the prisoners, the frantic thud of their feet, it all combines into a cacophony of fear and rage. Out into the snowy prison yard they go, straight into the eye of the storm. It's a literal free-for-all, with hundreds of prisoners fighting guards. Fighting each other, and now, fighting Rake. He quickly acquires a riot shield, which becomes his best friend, blocking blows and bashing heads with equal efficiency. The crunch of boots on snow mixes with the shouts and the impacts, creating a brutal soundscape. Rake is an unstoppable force, a one-man army carving a path through the madness, snow flying up with every powerful movement. You can almost feel the chill in the air, mixed with the sweat and blood. Rake, always one to escalate, finds a mounted machine gun and starts laying down suppressive fire. It's less pin them down and more make them reconsider their life choices. The deafening roar of the machine gun, the hot brass casing pinging off the ground, it's a chaotic symphony of destruction. Nick and Yaz are doing their part, keeping the path clear for Ketavan and the kids. The escape from the prison is a masterclass in controlled pandemonium, with Rake as the conductor, orchestrating a violent ballet of bullets and broken bones. I'm pretty sure this whole sequence was designed to make me question my life choices about ever complaining about a traffic jam. They need to get to the roof. which in Prison Break movies usually means climbing something incredibly unstable while being shot at. Rake, ever the optimist, finds a rickety ladder and starts herding the family upwards. The ping of bullets striking metal around them, the splintering of wood, it all adds to the delightful tension. It's a frantic, desperate climb, with Rake shielding them, his body tensing with every near miss. The cold wind whips around them, a chilling reminder of their exposed position. This whole sequence is a workout just to watch, honestly. They make it out, but the escape part of Prison Break is always a relative term. Now they're running through a snow-covered forest with guards and dogs hot on their heels. The crunch of snow, the frantic panting, the distant shouts. It's a truly immersive experience of desperation. Rake is still pulling double duty, fighting off pursuers while making sure the kids don't get lost or trampled. It's a brutal, cold chase, and you can practically feel the bite of the winter air and the ache in their lungs. Seriously, can this guy ever catch a break? The answer, as always, is a resounding no. Finally, through the trees, they spot their escape vehicle. A train. Because what's more inconspicuous than a freight train full of a family that just busted out of prison? The rhythmic rumble of the approaching train cuts through the forest. Silence, a beacon of hope, but also a giant moving target. They make a desperate dash for it, Rake using his body to shield the children from any lingering shots. The sheer physical exertion is evident on every face, every strained breath, every muscle screaming for respite. This is where the extraction part of the movie title really earns its keep. Nick and Yaz, with their usual cool competence, cover Rake as he helps Kedavan and the kids clamber aboard the moving train. The wind whips past. The screech of metal on metal is deafening, and every leap feels like a gamble with death. It's a frantic push, a last surge of adrenaline to get everyone to relative safety. Rake is the last one on. A final glance back at the pursuing guards, a grim set to his jaw. They're on the train, but this is Extraction 2, so you know the party is far from over. I'm pretty sure their ticket just got upgraded to Bullet Train, ironically. Surprise! More bad guys! Because clearly, the prison was just a warm-up. Rake finds himself in a cramped train car, battling a fresh wave of armed thugs. The close-quarters combat here is even more intense, with bodies slamming against metal, walls and the continuous rumble of the train adding to the sensory overload. The thud of a head against a steel door, the sickening crunch of bones. It's a brutal symphony. Rake uses the environment to his advantage, turning everyday objects into lethal weapons. This guy makes a Swiss Army knife look like a butter knife, honestly. Just when you think things couldn't get more absurdly over the top, a helicopter shows up and starts launching missiles at the train. Because a simple bullet just isn't exciting enough anymore, apparently. Explosions rip through the train cars, debris flies, and the entire structure groans under the assault. The deafening roars of the explosions, the shattering glass, the screams of terror. It's absolute chaos. Rake is running through the destroyed train, desperately trying to protect the family, dodging explosions with the finesse of a seasoned action hero. He's essentially playing a live-action game of The Floor is Lava, but with actual lava and more bullets. Tyler Rake, clearly a man who scoffs at gravity and common sense, climbs onto the roof of the moving train to directly engage the helicopter. Because that's a perfectly normal thing to do, right? He's basically a human anti-aircraft missile at this point. The roar of the helicopter blades, the intense whipping wind, the constant barrage of gunfire. It's a dizzying, dangerous ballet. He uses whatever he can find as cover, returning fire with precision, every move calculated for maximum impact. The sheer audacity of the man is something to behold, making you wonder if he secretly has a dumb ways to die checklist he's trying to complete. Unsurprisingly, a train that's been thoroughly riddled with bullets and missiles and has a mercenary on its roof eventually decides it's had enough. The entire train derails in spectacular fashion, spiraling off the tracks and crashing through the snowy landscape in a mangled heap of metal. The screech of tearing metal, the booming explosions, the deafening thud as car after car slams into the ground. It's an absolute sensory overload. Rake is tossed and battered, but somehow, impossibly, he's still alive, still focused on getting the family to safety. This guy has more lives than a particularly unlucky cat. Seriously. Amidst the smoking, twisted wreckage, Rake emerges, battered but unbowed, pulling Ketavan and her children from the chaos. The air is thick with smoke, and the acrid smell of burning metal. The silence after the crash is almost more terrifying than the noise, punctuated only by the crackle of flames and the groans of the injured. They're alive, but not unscathed. Rake's body language screams exhaustion, but his eyes, sharp and alert, betray his unwavering resolve. He's practically running on fumes and pure, unadulterated willpower at this point. After that small incident with the train, the team gathers their wits and a new set of wheels, heading for a temporary safe house in Vienna, the scenic European. Countryside provides a stark contrast to the brutal violence they just escaped. It's a moment of relative calm, a chance to breathe, but you can feel the underlying tension. Ketavan is still dealing with the trauma, and the kids are understandably shaken. The low hum of the vehicle, the soft crunch of tires on snow. It's a momentary reprieve before the next inevitable disaster strikes. Because in an extraction movie, safe is just a suggestion, not a guarantee. They arrive at a sleek, ultra-modern safe house in Vienna. It's all glass and minimalist design, which, considering Rake's usual rough-and-tumble environments, is a bit like putting a pit bull in a china shop. The kids finally get to be kids, for a moment, playing video games and generally enjoying not being shot at. But the peace is fragile. The clinking of glasses, the murmur of conversation, it's a thin veneer over deep-seated fear and trauma. Rake tries to connect with Ketavan, but the wounds of the past run deep, making their conversations tense and clipped. Ketavan finally unleashes her pent-up grief and anger on Rake. She confronts him about his past with her sister, his absence, and the ripple effect of his choices on their family, especially his son. It's a raw, emotional moment, the words hitting Rake harder than any physical blow. The crack in her voice, the tremor in her hands. It's a visceral display of a family torn apart by violence and loss. Rake, for all his physical toughness, is clearly vulnerable to these emotional wounds, his face a mask of regret. The silence after her outburst is deafening, heavy with unsaid words and lingering pain. While Rake is dealing with emotional fallout, Ketavan's brother-in-law, Zurab, who just happens to be a truly unpleasant crime lord, is busy making ominous phone calls. He's furious about his brother David's death and vows brutal revenge. He knows where they are because apparently safe house is just a fancy term for future combat zone. The menacing purr in Zurab's voice, the almost playful threat, it sends a chill down your spine. This guy isn't just a villain. He's the kind of guy who sends a strongly worded text with a bomb attached. You just know the relative peace is about to shatter. Sure enough, the safe part of Safe House turns out to be a cruel joke. Rake and the team spring into action, turning the sleek, modern abode into a war zone. They're barricading windows, setting up firing positions, and generally preparing for a siege. The frantic clatter of gear, the urgent whispers, it's a controlled panic as they brace for impact. This is less home defense and more prepare for a small army. Honestly, you'd think these guys would have a giant sign that just says, "Danger, expect extreme violence" wherever they go. It would save everyone a lot of trouble. And then, the boom. Zurab's forces launch their full-scale assault, turning the once peaceful safe house into a literal war zone. Explosions rip through the walls, glass shatters everywhere, and armed thugs swarm the building. The deafening roar of gunfire, the frantic cries of the children, the splintering wood, it's a sensory overload of pure, unadulterated terror. Rake, Nick, and Yaz are fighting tooth and nail, a desperate stand against overwhelming odds. Every punch, every shot fired, every body hitting the ground adds to the terrifying symphony of the attack. It's less a safe house and more a very expensive trap. In a heartbreaking turn, Yaz, always the loyal friend, makes the ultimate sacrifice. While covering Ketavan and the kids escape from the burning safe house, he's shot and killed. The crack of the rifle, the sudden slump of his body. It's a gut-wrenching moment that hits hard. Nick's scream of anguish, Rake's grim determination turning to cold fury. It's a powerful emotional beat amidst the chaos. The loss of Yaz is a heavy blow, a stark reminder of the brutal cost of their world. You can practically hear the collective gasp of everyone watching. Yaz was too good for this cruel world. Yaz's death pushes Rake over the edge. His grief transforms into a cold, burning fury, a primal need for vengeance. He relentlessly pursues Zurab's fleeing forces, abandoning all caution. The crunch of gravel under his boots, the thud of his heavy breathing. It's the sound of a man on a mission of pure retribution. He's no longer just an extractor. He's a force of nature, a one-man wrecking crew intent on making Zurab pay. The air crackles with his rage, a palpable wave of vengeance that chills you to the bone. You just know Zurab is in for a very, very bad day. Rake commandeers a car and initiates a high-speed chase through the beautiful, unsuspecting streets of Vienna. It's a symphony of screeching tires, shattering glass, and near misses with innocent bystanders who are probably just trying to enjoy their coffee. The roar of the engines, the blast of gunfire. It's a chaotic dance of destruction. He's tearing through the city, utterly focused, leaving a trail of smashed cars and bewildered tourists in his wake. This is less a car chase and more vehicular ballet of utter mayhem. Honestly, Vienna will never be the same after Rake's little joyride. Rake tracks Zurab to a towering skyscraper because, of course, all final boss fights happen in tall buildings. With zero regard for architectural integrity, Rake smashes through a glass facade, making a rather dramatic entrance. The shattering glass, the sudden blast of cold air. It's a testament to his single-minded focus. He moves through the opulent corporate offices like a ghost, albeit a very angry, heavily armed ghost. The luxurious silence of the office is abruptly broken by the rhythmic thud of his boots and the distant echoes of gunfire. This building is about to get a serious, Rake-sized renovation. Inside, Rake battles Zurab's forces across multiple floors of what was once a very fancy, very quiet office. Desks become barricades, monitors become projectiles, and filing cabinets become convenient blunt instruments. The ping of bullets off metal, the splintering of wood, the frantic shouts. It's an incredibly destructive redecoration project. He's taking out guards with a grim efficiency, his every move fueled by the memory of Yaz. The rhythmic thud of his fists, the sharp crack of his rifle. It's a relentless, focused assault. Honestly, whoever cleans this place up is going to need a serious raise and a lot of therapy. As Rake pushes deeper into the building, a chilling realization dawns on him. Zurab has laid a trap. He's walking right into it, isolated from Nick, who's trying to catch up. The sudden quiet in one of the corridors. The unnerving stillness. It's a classic villain move, and Rake, for all his skills, is momentarily caught off guard. The subtle shift in the air, the cold certainty of impending danger. It's a moment of unsettling calm before the inevitable storm. Zurab clearly wants to make this personal, and he's pulling out all the stops to do it. Zurab, being the dramatic type, sends his biggest, baddest henchman to soften Rake up. It's a brutal, bone-jarring, hand-to-hand slugfest, a clash of titans where every punch thrown could break ribs. The grunt of effort, the sickening thud of impact, the heavy breathing. It's a raw display of physical prowess and pain. Rake is battered, but his sheer will to avenge Yaz keeps him going. He's fighting with a ferocity that borders on desperation, a controlled explosion of rage. This isn't just a fight. It's a testament to Rake's unbreakable spirit, proving that even when severely outmatched, he still has a few tricks up his sleeve. Just when Rake seems almost overwhelmed, Nick bursts onto the scene, a welcome sight and a flurry of tactical brilliance. She's clearing rooms with precision, creating an opening for Rake to continue his pursuit of Zurab. The crack of her rifle, the sharp, decisive movements, she's a force to be reckoned with. Her arrival is like a breath of fresh, albeit bullet-filled air, giving Rake the crucial backup he needs. The seamless coordination between them, a silent language of seasoned mercenaries, is truly impressive. It's a moment of hope in a sea of despair, a clear sign that Rake isn't alone. Rake finally corners Zurab on the top floor of the skyscraper, a fittingly dramatic setting for their final showdown. It's a sleek, modern office with panoramic views of Vienna, a stunning backdrop for absolute carnage. Zurab, ever the showman, taunts Rake, trying to get under his skin. But Rake is beyond taunts. He's a man driven by a singular purpose. The tension in the air is thick enough to cut with a knife. The silence broken only by their heavy breaths and the distant sounds of the city. This is it. The moment everyone's been waiting for, and it promises to be absolutely brutal. In a surprising twist, just as Rake is about to deliver the final decisive blow, Katavan steps in. Consumed by her own grief and rage over Zurab killing her husband, she delivers a brutal, emotional blow to Zurab. It's a raw, visceral act of vengeance, a moment of catharsis for her. The crack of her impact, the look of shock and pain on Zurab's face. It's a powerful, unexpected moment that shifts the dynamic. Rake, respecting her need for closure, allows her this moment. It's a deeply personal form of justice, highlighting the ripple effects of violence on innocent lives. With Ketavan's intervention, Zurab is weakened and distracted. Rake, ever the finisher, quickly dispatches him with a decisive, brutal move, bringing an end to his reign of terror. The final sickening thud, the quiet collapse. It's a moment of grim satisfaction and exhaustion. The sounds of the city outside seem to fade back in, a stark contrast to the violence that just unfolded. The vengeance is complete, but the cost, as always, is immeasurable. Rake stands over Zurab's body, his chest heaving, a silent testament to the brutal ordeal. Soon after, the authorities, having presumably finished their coffee break, finally show up. Rake and Nick, weary but resolute, are arrested. The clinking of handcuffs, the hushed commands of the police, it's a somber end to a chaotic day. They're escorted out, their faces grim, knowing the consequences of their actions. Katavan and her children are safe, but the price of that safety is freedom, at least for now. It's a bittersweet victory, the kind where you win the battle but lose the ability to order takeout whenever you want. Later, in a very swanky prison, Alcott, looking as dapper as ever, visits Rake and Nick. He's got an offer they can't refuse: freedom, in exchange for another impossible, undoubtedly lethal mission. The subtle rustle of his expensive suit, the low, conspiratorial tone of his voice. It's a classic setup for the next installment. Rake and Nick exchange a look, a silent understanding passing between them. The prospect of freedom, however dangerous the cost, is tempting. The click of the cell door closing, the echo of Alcott's departing footsteps. It signals the quiet beginning of their next chapter. Because apparently, retirement is not in their job description. As they fly off into the unknown, leaving the past behind, a sense of weary hope lingers. Tyler Rake's journey, one defined by loss and relentless fighting, shows us that even in the darkest corners of human experience, there's a persistent spark of resilience. It's a testament to the power of personal redemption, the idea that our past doesn't entirely dictate our future. Facing overwhelming odds yet choosing to protect others reminds us of the profound courage found in self-sacrifice. And maybe, just maybe, there's a quieter path to healing for him ahead. A chance to build something new, even if it's just one fragile step at a time.